buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they war. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one makes countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social side, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See their shit, force a bear. Fuck them back, it's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one makes countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is Rock the Boat right here on UCY.TV on the 11th of August, 2016. And we apparently had an ISIS problem here. Doesn't say ISIS per se. Let me look at this thing. I have not had time to look at it. I saw a little bit last night about it. The RCMP shot some young guy who was purportedly going to blow up a mall in Strathroy, Ontario. Now, this is the same RCMP that just had a judge release who they had two screw-ups, if you will, two people who have a hard time, I would think, tying their shoes together. And 420 RCMP, I think that was the number. It was a hell of a pile of them anyway. It was 420. RCMP were involved in setting this thing up so they could use it as a sting, so they could scare people into these Islamic terrorists who were going to blow up something on Canada Day a couple years ago, I think. So they just got released. The RCMP were up to their ass in this thing, this fraud, this scheme of theirs. And really not much. These other people were only released, maybe at most a month ago, who the RCMP had set up. The judge that finally let these people go, wrapped the knuckles of the RCMP. Nobody was charged. None of the RCMP was charged for this fraud. And now all of a sudden, I guess this is to give them a better name. Let's see what we got here. Police intercept terrorist suspect en route to London Mall in Ontario. A terrorist suspect was boarding a taxi heading for a shopping mall in nearby London when he was intercepted by police on Wednesday afternoon and killed later after a shootout as tactical officers, bomb technicians, and snipers descended on a quiet row of red brick houses in the small southwestern town. RCMP said it raided the house after receiving a tip from the FBI that a Canadian had made a martyrdom video and was expected to strike within 72 hours during rush hours in an urban center. The tip came around 8:30 a.m. Wednesday, and the suspect in the video was masked. However, by 11 a.m., Canadian authorities determined that it was Aaron Driver, a 24-year-old Strathroy, long known for his sympathies for the Islamic State. It was a race against time, said Deputy Commissioner Mike Cabana. Mr. Diver, a Winnipeg resident who had moved in with his sister in Strathroy, was the subject of a peace bond that required him to report to police twice a month, but he was not under surveillance, and a earlier bail condition that he wear a tracking bracelet had been rescinded by the court in Winnipeg. The owner of the taxi company, whose driver suffered minor injuries, told the Globe and Mail that Mr. Driver had asked to be taken to the City Plaza Mall in downtown London, 40 minutes away. RCMP Assistant Commissioner Jennifer Strachan said investigators have not determined yet the target of the alleged plot. City Plaza is not the main mall in London, but is also located near the city's Via train and Greyhound bus terminals. Transit agencies in Toronto and Vancouver have confirmed that they were warned of a security threat just before Wednesday's police operation. Assistant Commissioner Strachan said the police had taken position around Mr. Driver's house around 4:30 p.m., but were not expecting that he would call a taxi. The owner said that they got a call from Mr. Driver between 4 and 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday. She said that he got in the back seat of the cab. Mr. Driver told the driver he wanted to go to City Plaza in London. The driver said he started to reverse and heard a bunch of gunshots, and someone yelled, just get out of the car and lay on the ground, the owner said. Assistant Commissioner Strachan said Driver detonated an explosive device that he brought with him. Photos released by RCMP showed that the back seat was shredded by the blast. The taxi driver told the Globe and Mail that he didn't remember the explosion, only the sound of gunshots. He declined to comment further, probably because there was no explosion. Mr. Driver's father, Wayne, told the National Post that his son was about to detonate a second bomb when he was shot dead. Shooting Aaron might have saved the driver's life, the elder Mr. Driver said. Our worst nightmare has come true. As sad and shocked as I am, it doesn't surprise me that it has come to this. Aaron was a good kid who went down the dark path and couldn't find the light again, he said. The estranged son of a Canadian Forces corporal, Aaron had converted to Islam in 2008. He was known for making social media posts supporting ISIS, I guess, using aliases such as Harun Abdurrahman. In addition, the RCMP said Thursday that he had been in touch with several jihadis and terrorist suspects. Deputy Commissioner Mike Cabana said Driver was in fairly constant contact with a British youth later arrested for his role in a plot targeting Anzac Day celebrations in Australia. In May 2015, Mr. Driver exchanged encrypted messages with two ISIS jihadists from Britain, later killed in a drone strike in Syria. He was also in touch through Twitter with Elton Simpson, one of the gunmen in an attack in Garland, Texas exhibit of cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad. In the martyrdom video provided by the FBI, which was made public by the RCMP, the masked man said to be Mr. Driver pledges allegiance to ICE doesn't say just says is, leader Abu Bakr, whatever. There's a fire burning in the chest of every Muslim that can fire, that fire can, who the hell writes this stuff? There's a fire burning in the chest of every Muslim, and that fire can cooled only by your blood, said the man in the video. He added, you will pay for everything you have brought on us. Neighbors said Mr. Driver worked at Meridian Lightweight Technologies, Inc., a company that manufactures automotive parts using magnesium. That's an important thing to know, I suppose. The taxi company owner said Mr. Driver was a regular customer, often getting cars to take him to his workplace. While Mr. Driver kept a low profile, his next-door neighbor recalled odd incidents in recent months. He was just sort of an in and out all the time, says neighbor Maria Pereri. We'd hear banging in the back shed. I thought someone was living there, she said, noting that it began in the winter when Mr. Driver was said to have moved into the house. She said she called Strathroy Police on July 31st after she heard what sounded like loud firecrackers. She said the police drove by but doesn't remember them going to speak to the resident. When asked to confirm whether such a call was received or acted upon, a spokesman for Stratford Police said, you'll have to file a Freedom of Information request for that, because we ain't talking to you people, because we don't represent you people. You people are a bunch of ditzes. You buy our equipment, you buy our cars, you buy our guns, you buy our tasers, and we don't represent you. We represent the corporation, and you ain't the corporation. So if you want to know anything, file a Freedom of Information Act, and you may get a blacked out sheet. How's that? And don't forget, it'll cost you $75 or $100. This is the kind of bullshit that's going on. Excuse my language. On Monday, she saw Mr. Driver's sister leave the house with her children 2 days before the confrontation with police. On Thursday morning, a spokesman for the Toronto Transit Commission said the agency was made aware of a terror threat investigation early the previous day, but that it had no specifics attached. Brad Ross said that as a precaution, a vigilance notice was issued to all staff encouraging them to say something if they saw something of concern. He said such notices are commonly issued after security incidents around the world or if the TTC is advised of threats closer to home. A spokesman for Metrolinx, now Metrolinx is the new transit system that's being installed in every major city in the world, and that is so that you call it UN Transit if you want, globalist transit. This is, if you study Metrolinx, you will find out very quickly what these clowns are up to. They're building the transit on your dollar to transport you where they want you to go and nowhere else from your little box along the rail line, just like in the book 1984. Anyways, a spokesman for Metrolinx, the Ontario government agency, which runs the Greater Toronto Area's regional transit line, said it was also advised of a security threat. Anna Aiken says the agency raised its level of vigilance and worked closely with national, provincial, and local forces in response. Mr. Driver grew up in Ontario but was living in Winnipeg when his tweeting activities caught the attention of authorities. He was arrested in June of last year in Winnipeg due to concerns about his activities online. He agreed last year to a peace bond that restricted his movements and online activities and moved to Strathroy to live with his sister. The peace bond conditions that he agreed to in February, including living with his sister in Strathroy, Ontario, as well as not possessing firearms or explosives, not possessing cell phones or computers, staying off social media, and not possessing anything bearing the symbols of Islamic State's group. The ban on computers and cell phone was to end on August the 31st. In a 2015 interview with the CBC, Mr. Driver said he was not a terrorism threat, but added, I'm okay with soldiers or police officers being targeted because of what they did to the Muslims. Seeing some of the things that are happening in Syria infuriates you, and it breaks your heart at the same time, and I think that if you know what's going on, you have to do something, he said. Now, I could see just going through this story about 400 opportunities for the police, if this guy was actually a terror threat, to do something peaceful without shooting a guy. But they didn't. And none of it makes any freaking sense. None of it. But again, the police are part of the New World Order, if you want to call it that. And they are not your friends. Now, they don't represent you. They are actually, the RCMP are actually... They're actually listed or as the Queen's Police. Okay, the RCMP was the first police force in so-called Canada, and they were the Queen's Police, and they were there to protect the Queen's claimed lands, and or the King at the time, whoever was in charge at the time. And so they're the police of the Queen. They're not the police of the people. They don't police to do anything good for the people. They don't represent the people. They take an oath to the Queen, to the Crown, to the corporation. It's all the same damn thing. And your country, I don't give a shit where you live, is a corporation, and the police take an oath to protect the corporation, and you are born, and you are registered, and you are titled, that's your surname, and they sell that and make a lot of money off your ass, and they use it for loans, put you as surety for the debt, so they can spend whatever they want, and you're on the hook for it, not them. The government is on the hook for nothing. The government is not responsible. Okay, and it spells it out very, very clearly in this country in particular that we were given responsible government, but then later on it says responsible in responsible government. Responsible does not have the dictionary definition of the word. So everything's upside down, everything's backwards. What would make the government not responsible, but irresponsible? And if they're irresponsible, they're not bound to the legal system. We are the frickin' parties after we were that became bound to the legal system. That makes us the responsible parties. That makes us the obligated parties. That makes us the chargeable parties, and so on and so forth. So, I don't know how many people paid any attention to this story. I certainly didn't pay much attention to it. I just wanted to read some of it, and see how badly this looks like it was a setup, and it certainly does. And it looks like another guy got killed who probably didn't need to be killed. But the fact is that these people are Muslims. They're not Islamic. This is a white kid, And the girl that they had, and the guy that they had set up, 420 cops worked a long, hard time to set these people up and encourage them to use pressure cooker bombs or whatever. And like I said, watching these two people, they didn't look like they had the capacity to tie their own freaking shoes together, let alone bomb the Parliament buildings in British Columbia, in Victoria. So we know that one was a complete and total setup. And if, you have somebody with a hood on making a video, and from that they determine who this is. I don't know how you go about doing that, maybe through your connections, but anybody can set up a fake account anywhere. So, was it necessary to kill this young guy? I'm saying no. But we have to put fear into people. Oh my God, there's jihadists in southern Ontario now, and they're going to blow up the malls with all the people, and it'll be like Paris, France, and that. Don't be surprised yet if they don't pull one of those off. But this is all about destroying nation states. That's what it's about. Now, these people that want to destroy your nation, they already run 2 world wars and all the other wars, and they killed hundreds of millions of people. So do you think they give a damn if somebody in Paris or Belgium or southern Ontario or Dallas, Texas, or anywhere else let off a bomb and blow up a bunch of innocent people in a mall? I guess not, because they're trying to get their program in place. And what's a few bodies here and there, right? These people have no remorse. Which reminds me, talking about the police right away. Me and my buddy went uptown today to get some smokes. And we're walking up the street, and a cruiser's coming towards us, and we're getting ready to cross the street, so we're already making a move to cross the street. We're going to wait for the cruiser to go by. And this cruiser goes by and sees the two of us, and I suppose we're pretty well known. And no, I'm not a jihadist. And no, I'm not Islamic. We're just 2 good old Canadian boys who get it and have, made the courts a little bit nervous now and again. But not because we're going to blow them up. I'm not into blowing things up, but just in case some of them boys are listening, I don't want the FBI, and I don't make hooded videos. But we're going up the street, and we're getting ready to cross the street, and a cruiser comes by, and he's got his hand up in the driver's window with the horn sign. Okay, this is not a natural use of a hand. Okay, you got to fold them two middle fingers down and get your thumb over top of them. You got to hide that thumb, get them two fingers. So here comes this cop, and he sees us walking up the street or getting ready to cross the street, and puts his hand up on the driver's side window with the good old horn signal. And that kind of made both of us smile. These police are like bad, deranged little children. If they're worried about the trust. They're worried about the trust of the police. Who the hell can trust these guys? First of all, they don't represent you. So how could you trust somebody that's on the other side? All you got to do is look at a protest. Look at all the protests. Do you see the police on the side of the protesters? Nope. No, you don't. You see them on the side of the corporation. Why? Because they took an oath to the corporation. Why? Because the corporation's paying them. Who's paying the corporation? You are. That makes us pretty stupid. But that's just the way it works. Now, there was a video where is that thing? Where am I going to find that thing? There was a video in Baltimore. Where the hell will I going to find that thing? Let me take, here it is. Okay, this is a video. The Justice Department in Baltimore, I believe it was, holds let me pop this up. And can I just grab the link of that thing? Just bear with me a second. If I got to open that up. I guess I'm going to have to open it up to get that. All right, we'll do that. Because this is pretty interesting. You see, because it's all globalized now. And let me grab the link off of this quick. And so this video says the Justice Department holds a presser to announce their findings in the Baltimore Police Department. Now this thing's been up for, let's see, it was published on August the 10th. That's today's August the 11th. And to date, this is a pretty important video, and to date, it only seems to have 19 views. Find that a little difficult. Here's another one that was put up. It's got 9 views. Here's another one with no views. So the idea that Daily America, whoever they are, I don't know who they are, but they put it up as, this is Daily America. So they put it up several times now. And the one has 9 views and the other one has 19 views. Something wrong with that. Okay, so let me chuck that into the chat because people need to take a boo at this thing. This is about the Baltimore police having a bit of a problem, and it's basically a racial problem, and they want to do something about it. It's going to be a long, hard road, but we're just going to fix it up for you here. Okay, so that's the link to the mayor of Baltimore and the chief commissioner, or the police commissioner, I think, and somebody from the Justice Department. And she has, that one from the Justice Department has one be careful. She got one wicked-ass voice, man. I was scared the shit out of most people. Okay, so that's that. Now, if we give you this link, this will explain to you exactly why they're doing what they're doing. Okay? I mean, this is always connected. Now, that is from ways city leaders can address racial inequities, and this has to do with the police departments. Now, this is from, let's see here. I believe that particular, it's called cityspeaks.org. So you have City Speaks, city mayors, world mayors, all connected to the United Nations. In the search bar, if you put in United Nations in the search bar, you'll bring up all kinds of crap from the United Nations. And so, everything that's being told to you by your local city or your local state or your the feds, I don't care, right? This is all just templated crap coming at you, right? That's all it is, just templated crap. So now all of a sudden, they did a 10-year study on the Baltimore police. Nobody noticed this before, that the police were shooting everybody and beating the snot out of everybody and carding everybody and targeting people. Apparently not. They did a study from how the Baltimore police were interacting with the public from 20 to 2016, and they come to the conclusion, this is pitiful. Really. You've had no oversight in the last 10 years as to what the police have been up to? But now all of a sudden you're real concerned about it. So you've done this study and now they're looking for public input. Okay? And we interrupt this program to let everybody know out there we're having a very heavy rain right now. It's been 32 days here since we had any of that wet stuff. Should freak out all the animals. And I'm sure the farmers are going to be extraordinarily happy, hopefully. Yeah, exactly. Racism is killing us. BS, Ron. Yeah, it's the idiots that are cops. Exactly. Okay? All these racism things and that's all concocted. It's all created. Okay? It's all created crap. Conquer, divide and conquer, and more divide and conquer. Right? And they just keep adding little ingredients to the mix. Okay? So now we got ISIS involved in the little mix they're cooking up here, and the Islamics and all this stuff. And what is the purpose of this? Well, the purpose is simple: to destroy your nation. That's what it's about. It's what it's always been about. The police are nothing more than the mafioso that get down on the street and keep people in order, that they do what the mafioso wants, and that's your government. It's plain and simple. There's no other way to explain it. If I wasn't doing the show right now, I'd go out and stand in the rain. We haven't seen, man, it's been dry. And I'm not going to blame the endless chemtrails that are always landing over top of us here. I'm not going to blame that. How could I blame that? Probably just a conspiracy theory. Not. Maybe it didn't rain on my yard because I didn't take my vaccines. Maybe it didn't rain on my yard because I didn't fill out the census form. Who knows? But things are going to have to change. But anyways, if you look at those two things, you look at the video, and I warn you about that justice's voice. It'll drive anybody nuts. And I can just hear her, "How come you never come home from work, dear?" And he's going, "I don't know, darling. It's just, I don't know, something about your voice, maybe, I don't know." But anyways, they do their explanation. The complete thing's set up. They have this fake empathy for the people of Baltimore. They don't give a shit about the people of Baltimore. All the people of Baltimore is a funding system. They're bleeding off the people. They're feeding off the people of Baltimore, just like they feed off the people everywhere else. Okay? But, we care. You don't give a damn. Well, we have to say this because it was sent to us from the globalists and United Nations people and the bankers and the lawyers, and we're supposed to participate in this and pretend we care. We're going to make big changes to the way the police deal with the people, okay? Because we care, not because you care. If you cared, you would have done something like decades ago, and you didn't. All of a sudden you care because you told you're going to care. All of these people are puppets. Hey, Mayor of Baltimore, I need you to go stand in front of the podium. Okay. Hey, Commissioner of the Police, who never cracks a smile, by the way, in that video. Right? I don't know how far he got the UN globalist stick up his ass, but he can't break a smile. He can't do it. He looks very formidable and miserable, and we've been caught. Over the last 10 years, we apparently have been a pain in everybody's ass, but now we care. Of course, I'm not going to smile about it because we are amoral people. We sold our souls to the corporation, and we don't even look at you as people. All we see is identification. All we see is names, titles. That's all we see. We don't see people. If we saw people, we'd probably have to care about people, but you can't care about paper. Isn't that a lovely little title walking down the street? Isn't that a wonderful little corporate piece of paper? Corporate piece of paper, a title, any of that stuff has no moral capacity because it's dead. We once again got to break this show for a second. My tenant from the other house is so happy to see rain. He's out raking leaves in the rain. Been a long time since we saw some rain. I'm sure there's people all over town standing out in the rain tonight, which is a nice thing. Okay, that's true. That's quite possible. I love this. It didn't rain because you didn't fill your gas tank. It didn't rain because I didn't wash the car and left the windows up. It's true. I don't know where it's been dry where you people have been that are listening to now, but it has been badass dry around here. I really, this is the least number of times I've ever cut a lawn in my life. I think I cut the lawn maybe since spring 3 times. So hopefully it rains for a few days, I hope. The tree, we've got a huge black walnut tree. This thing is monstrous. And it's a humongous tree. And it's great because out at the end of the road or at the end of the lane, you walk out there and it's a good at least 5 degrees cooler under that tree. It's been a great shade tree, but this year normally the leaves start falling off of this tree, and I'm telling you, it's freaking huge. The leaves usually start falling off of this tree in about mid-September, and the majority of them don't drop till the first frost. This year, the roof of the house in front of me, which is on the same property, is we're going to have to rake that if we don't get a big wind because it's getting a few inches of leaves on it. And this tree's probably lost half to two-thirds of its leaves already, and it's only, we're not even in, we haven't finished, we just got into the second week of August. So we figure that tree is just shutting itself down because there's so many branches and so many leaves to feed with water that it's probably just shutting down a little bit, preserve itself. And so it looks like fall here. And we're nowhere close to the point where the trees should be turning color, but they're dropping leaves like a bugger. So anyways, they passed a law in, I think it's Woodstock, Ontario now, a bylaw so that anyone on the streets, it's a curfew that they've put down. Anyone on the streets who is under 16, I think it is, on the streets after midnight will be taken to the jail because they're probably up to no good. That's just a presumption on somebody's part. But I don't think it's so much about the kids getting in trouble as it gives the state another reason probably to stick their hand in the parents' pockets or, something nefarious against the parents. And that, welcome, it's 1984. But on the upside, people are waking up. I know it's frustrating as hell, but people are waking up. I mean, we're going to get blasted now with Chinamen. They've opened the gates to the Islamic people. And what kills me is the police. You'd think if the police, if the RCMP or the police in general were there for your best interest, and they went and spent all that time and all those hundreds of policemen setting up a fake possible bombing by these pro-Islamics who aren't even Islamic, and this other kid they just killed, that the police themselves would be putting up a big red flag to the government saying, you can't let these crazy buggers in here. They want to blow up the malls. Meanwhile, they're bringing more and more and more in all the time. Well, the ones we're letting in, they're not radical. Well, I mean, if you're Islamic, then you believe in Sharia law. And that's pretty damn radical, because what's that to do? It's to undermine the state, undermine the nation. And make no mistake about these people, make no mistake about them. When I was at a meeting with them, I don't know how long it was now, it was probably at least 4 years ago, when they were coming through and flyering our town. They did that several times, saying that Islam is the religion of peace. Well, we already got enough religion around here, so hit the road. But I did go to a meeting that was set up and spent a couple hours with these people, and we got along just fine. And we went through why they were doing this, what they thought, and they're convinced. They're absolutely convinced that Islam will be the world religion and Sharia law will be the world law. Now, they didn't threaten to cut my head off, but they had all their information boards and that set up. And I've been to so many different meetings and so many different government meetings and that. And I mean, all of this stuff just sticks out like a sore thumb. They're just template boards. I can stick whatever I want in there. I've seen the same boards too many times. And but these people are absolutely convinced that Sharia will be the global law. Now, if they're telling me this, then you know the government already knows this. The corporation/government already knows this. Okay? So why are they here? Why are you allowing someone into the country, into the nation, who specifically says that Islam will be the world religion and Sharia will be the world law. Why would you let them in? Well, because it's part of the plan. It's that simple. It's part of the frickin' plan. What is the plan of Israel and the United Nations and all this garbage? The end of nation states. So your government is letting these people in, saying, "Well, we screen them. We don't allow the radical ones in." Well, radical or not, I mean, like I said, the people I was talking to, we had a very good, deep conversation, and I was the only one that showed up at the meeting, even though they'd flyed the town and promoted this stuff. I'm glad I was the only one that showed up because then we got to have a good laid-back conversation for a couple hours. But the fact is that they are convinced. Now, what I did get to do when I was talking to these people was explain to them that they're being used just like everybody else is being used, and the world religion will not be Islam, and the world law will not be Sharia. Okay? You people are basically just being put in here to cause stress, to cause chaos, to divide and conquer again. It's just another divide and conquer tool. And when they're done with you, right, they got no more use for you. Okay, so bye-bye. If you think they give a damn about you, well, let's see. They blew up Iraq, blew up Afghanistan, blew up Syria. Do you honestly think that these people that are bringing you into their countries give a damn about you, or they wouldn't have been blowing you all up? No, you're being brought in here specifically as another divide and conquer tool, another chaos tool, another fear-mongering tool. But when they're done with you, be absolutely assured that Sharia will not be the global law, and Islam most definitely will not be the world religion. Because there are some similarities, not the head cutting off, but there are similarities between Christianity and Islam. And that is they both believe in a superior power, a God. And the thing about the United Nations in that is that they worship a goddess, Mother Earth. Okay? Big difference. So there's no way that Christianity or Islam could possibly be the world religion. Okay? So you're not going to survive this. So in one sense, now this may sound kind of strange, but in one sense, we have more in common with each other. We both have the same common enemy. You know, we both have the same enemy. Because they're both, the globalists are trying to take everybody down. So we need not be fighting against one another. And I'm not saying that I want Sharia law. I want nothing to do with that garbage. But the fact is, we got the same enemy. We're not each other's enemy. Okay? Well, we are in a way because the Islamic law is kind of bent. Anybody that's not Islamic, see ya. And the Jewish law is the same thing. Okay, so the Jewish law. Now, one thing I don't got no proof of it. If somebody can dig it up, fire it to me. But Jew News is always bitching about Islam, you know. But I'm pretty sure it was the Jews and the Catholics that set this mess up in the first place. Okay? Again, for world domination reasons. Not because they care about Arabs or any of that kind of stuff, just as a tool in their chest of tools. So, you know, I find it rather humorous that the Jew News is always bitching about Islam, when it was the Jews that agree that they're the ones that cooked up multiculturalism. Okay, so what's the difference between an East Indian and an Arab showing up? It's all multiculturalism. It's all about taking your nation state down. How do we get from being basically white black? That's what we were. Okay, we were white and black. I mean, more so in the States than here. Up here, we were mostly white. In fact, we were so white, we couldn't find each other when it snowed. We were that freaking white. We could lose each other all winter. We were that white here. But the fact of the matter is that our nations were built by white and black people, for the most part. So how is it now all of a sudden we got to bring people in from every freaking nation in the world? The poorer, the better. The more bombed out, the better. The more angry, the better. What could be the possible reason for doing this? Except to destroy the nation state. We're all one. Remember that song, We Are the World, from way back, I don't know, 80-something? I almost threw up when I heard that song. Bruce Springsteen and Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder and just this whole gaggle of musicians, famous singers. We are the world. Well, that was just a UN message. Now, if you trace a lot of these players, and I call them players, these so-called exalted musicians, you will find that they're all pushing the UN agendas. We are the world. We are one. No, we're not. And no, we're not supposed to be. Now, are we going to continue to allow ourselves to be ruled by psychopaths and sociopaths? Or are we going to just figure this out and stand up and say, get the hell out of here? We didn't invite you in. You know, I had a discussion with my friend there before showtime today, and I said, you know, how they put this this is all about community policing again, and it's all from the United Nations and the globalists and the bankers and the lawyers that set this whole damn mess up. You know, how is it they set a bylaw that that you have to be home by such and such an hour, or you're going to be taken to the police station? Well, I said they just make the rule, but I didn't vote for that. Well, you know, they always say you voted for us, and if you don't like it, what we're doing, you can vote us out at the end of 4 years, and that's not the point. The point is, and he's absolutely correct, whether you vote or you don't vote, anytime they're going to change something, add something, take something away, they have to go back to the people. Okay? They have to go back and ask the people. They don't do that. They're under this silly impression that once they get the vote, that they have carte blanche to do whatever the hell they want, and if you don't like it, you can vote them out. In other words, they can borrow all the money they want, spend it in the most ludicrous fashion, and you, by being here, just your presence here, somehow agree to what they're doing. And if you don't like it, you can, in 4 years, vote us out. But we can do whatever damage we want in the 4 years, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. And they're absolutely correct about that. We do not live in these so-called democracies, which are demonocracies, because it's an adversarial system, and as I keep saying, look up adversary, and what's it say? It says Satan. So, and a corporation is a dead entity, and that's a satanic entity. So, this is what your government is. They don't come to you to ask you anything because you don't exist in their world. All right? The only thing that exists in their world is your title, and they created it. You just happen to be able to work where the title isn't, so they get to feed off of you, and they get to bleed you. Normally when there's a war, there's a lot of blood flowing in the streets. Well, this is a different kind of war, okay? Because it's a financial war. They're bleeding you financially, and they have been for, at least since 1913. Bleeding you dry. When they want more money, they raise your taxes. When they want you to use less water, they raise your water bill. When they want you to use less hydro, they raise your hydro bill. And each time they do any of these things, they bleeding you out. And for what reason people don't stand up is totally and completely beyond me. I have no idea why people... Here's a typical example real quick. A couple of my in-laws were over here this afternoon for a bit, and apparently my brother-in-law's niece had a new baby boy. And I think it's healthy, so that's a good thing. But they're saying, they haven't got a name for it yet. And I kind of tongue-in-cheek, like she didn't notice she was pregnant all this time. And so I says, I guess I'll find a name, just flip a coin or whatever. And then my sister-in-law says, well, they have a month. I said, what do you mean they have a month? Well, they have enough months to pick a name. Why do they have a month to pick a name? Well, because the government wants a name within 30 days. And I said, do you realize why they want a name within 30 days? Okay, what business is it of the so-called government whether you ever give a child a name? Well, they want the name. Well, why do they want the name? Because the name is worth money. They don't give a damn about the child. They give a damn about the title. You register the child, you get title, they own it. Just like when you register a car, you get title, they own it. So now, once you give that name to the so-called government, which is really nothing more than a corporation, you've turned your child into an asset of the corporation. And because the corporation owns that child, the corporation has the right to trade that child, put rules on that child, and so on and so forth. In other words, run that kid's life. So your kid's been born to the corporate plantation, and if you don't give them a name within 30 days, they're going to start getting ugly with you. And if, like my friend Enos, who didn't register his last two kids, you may end up with police with machine guns on your property. A lot of people, hard to believe this kind of crap happens in rural Canada, but it does. Now, why would they send police in there to intimidate in that, except as far as they're concerned, by not registering your child, you've stolen from the corporation, or you've withheld something for the corporation for some psychotic reason they believe they have the right to. Which they don't, of course, but they believe they do. And we need to stop registering children. We need to stop registering vehicles. We need to stop signing stuff. We need to just stop. If you register your vehicle, then you're bound by the terms of what you're going to get when you register the vehicle, which is that you have to abide by all of their nonsense. And they can't write rules and regulations fast enough, and each one of those things is sold to you on the idea of safety, when in fact it's sold to create another revenue stream, or it's created to create another revenue stream, and it's sold to you on the idea of safety. The only one that's in charge of your safety is you. Period. And I used to have these conversations when I was building houses, when the safety inspector would come along and say, I go, what? And he says, well, I'm here to check for safety. Well, if I'm safe, what's your problem? Well, you're not wearing work boots. And? Well, you can't do that. Why? Well, because I'm the safety guy. Uh-huh. And what do you know about my safety? Who's in charge of my safety? You? No. Me. Well, we have regulations here. Well, that's nice. Now, if I do what you say and I get hurt, who's on the hook? Me or you? Okay? You're saying you're in charge of my safety? That's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. How can you possibly be in charge of my safety? If I wish to wear sneakers on this job site, I will wear sneakers. If I don't wish to wear a hard hat, I will not wear a hard hat. If I get hurt, that's my problem. But the idea of me being on this construction site is to be safe, as I see it, not as some freaking pencil neck in some bureaucratic office in some jackass city. Well, yeah, but we'll give you a ticket. Aha! So you're not concerned about my safety. You're running around here looking for safety violations that you concocted without ever asking me, and then you're threatening to give me a ticket if I don't comply with your stupidity. Now, I've never gotten a ticket from one of these safety guys, and I've never done as I was told by one of these safety guys. They've always went away, and they ain't never come back. What bothers me is the way people bow down to this garbage all the time. You know, like you're working away and you feel you're safer because you're up on a roof or you're running rafters or something, and you feel a lot more comfortable in your sneakers, and a safety guy comes along and says, you know, you're not wearing your work boots. I got them in the truck. Sorry, forgot them. I'll put them on right now, sir. Excuse me. Some big, tough construction worker you ended up being. You wuss. That's a problem. People just have no clue how to stand their ground. Absolutely no clue whatsoever. They can be as tough can be, and then when some pencil neck comes around, they fold up like a little girl. Yes, sir. I'll get them right away, sir. Well, you better, or I'm going to give you a ticket. I'm just going to give you a warning this time, but if I come back on this job site again and I see this, trust me, you're going to get a ticket. Oh, it won't happen again. Then they bring out a new law that you got to wear a funny-looking safety vest when you're on a construction site. That's the dumbest ass thing I ever seen. Seems everybody in construction, anybody that has anything to do with manual work, is now wearing a fluorescent vest for some reason or another with a cross on it. Or an X on it. X marks the spot, I guess. X marks the stupid spot. Hi, I'm stupid. They told me to wear a vest, so I did. And they put X on it. So they marked me. I'm stupid. Because I do exactly what I'm told, and I always bow down. And that's the way it is, and that's going to have to end. Nail guns, yeah. Watch the nail gun, boys and girls. Anyways, I think we're out of time for the night, and I wish everybody the best, and it looks like our rain quit, so we probably only got about 20 minutes of rain, but better than nothing. Maybe tomorrow we'll get some more rain, and we'll maybe see some green come back in the lawns before the snow flies. That would be nice to see. Anyways, you know, don't get suckered in by the chaos and don't get suckered in by the fear-mongering, and, you know, keep doing your research and keep talking to your neighbors, and like I say, keep talking, keep teaching, and keep shining the light. We are going to win this. I have no doubt in my mind. And I hear music. Take care, everybody. Have a great night. And watch the video and then go and read that site that I put in after the video. You'll see the connection. Okay? Everybody have a great night. Take care. Bye-bye.
They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids. No one makes countries laugh to your face, fight and die, 'cause God will give.
My name is S.M. Gibson, and I am the host